And welcome back to the Michelin 24 Hours of Le Mans in its final couple of hours, and I'm with a man who's looking at a possible victory here. The first year I worked for this channel was 10 years ago. We stood here and you were cool then, just a couple of hours out from your first victory. You're still cool now. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's nice, you know, because it's been 10 years since I won it last time. It feels like the first win, of course, if it happens. There's still 1.5 hours to go, so it's we still have to keep our fingers crossed and, you know, hope the best. Car has been running really well, and the
okay, JJ, probably we've got a problem, so we'll come back to you in just a moment. Thank you.
Oh, huge developments, Andrew. There's the number 58 Aston Martin that sits in third. The car has come to a stop. It suddenly slowed and was just crawling. It has now stopped. And we also have the 59 car that sits in second that was pursuing the overall, or the GT1 class leader, is not only in the pits, but in the garage. So we'll try and find out what happened. But this car was very, very slow, and then Alan suddenly just absolutely came to a stop. There is the second place number 59 car. Darren Turner, the driver at the time, came in. They just got it up in the air, turned it, and backed it right in. Looks like concerns on the front end of that car, perhaps more splitter problems. Those cars have been dealt that blow a couple of times today. Chris, what are you finding out down there?
Greg, big problems for both of the Aston cars right now. The 59 is in the garage. It's got a water leak, and the 58 has no fuel pressure out on the racetrack. So things are just coming unglued down here.
Well, earlier we heard from Dave Richards, and he said, we believe we have the speed to be able to run down that yellow Vette, just disappearing over the brow. Right there it comes. But he said you have to take risks to do that. Sometimes the risks are just driving flat out, and that can take its toll, and perhaps that's what we are seeing. This is the big gift for the number 64 Corvette, and the pictures we're seeing, of course, provided by our French host, VCF Television, and that is the 64 Vette down through Indianapolis, and now making the run down toward Arnage. But this is going to give them a huge gap. And of course, for the number 63 car, it is officially already leapfrogged on the scoring monitors into third, now second, as that car has come by the front straight. And there is the 63 right there, now officially shown in second spot for Corvette. And Corvette Racing, it is now 1-2 in GT1. And Alan, amazingly, this would be the highest overall finish as well. Now, we also, right as the problems were developing with the Aston Martin, this is the TVR Tuscan, a favorite of the Brits here, and it has had an off as well, and just nosing into the tires over there. Not a big hit at all, and that's a fairly sturdy car as we go back on board with the 63. But we were talking about it. The Vetts have had, obviously, class wins here, but now we have one in the top 5, and the other one is in 6th. That would be remarkable.
Yeah, that's right. The highest they've ever come overall is 8th. They came 8th in 1960. We referred to that. They won the class then. It was just a wonderful thing. John Fitch and Bob Grossman did the business then. And in 2002, the C5R, 8th overall, first in class. So it was a repetition, if you wish, same overall position. Now they're running 5th and 6th. So, hey, this could be very good.
This is a replay of number 58, and that bob and weave when the fuel pressure drops, trying to see if they can get anything into the pickups. And it makes you ask the question. I mean, is this just a mechanical problem with a fuel pump, a fuse, or on the electronic pump, or was one of the risks that Dave Price was, Dave Richards was talking about, was trying to get one more lap on fuel to try and close the gap?
Well, it could be that, or in this humongous heat here, you can get vaporization, cavitation. The fuel pump is going to be whirring away and just blowing air. I mean, this heat can do things. So if it turns out that is fuel vaporization, I, for one, would not be surprised.
They have pushed the number 58 behind the tire barrier, and that is a sign it is done. Park. Unless the driver, now the only thing is the driver can get out, and if it is a fuse, they do have spares on board, and if it's something simple like that, he can replace it, can get that fired back up again and get it back into pit lane. That would be fantastic, but it is only the driver that can do the work, and it is back behind the barrier. Now, when all of this developed, we were chatting with JJ Lato. Andrew was. Let's get back down to Andrew.
Yes, well, JJ understood we wanted to follow up that Aston story. We're just talking about 10 years ago and how cool you were then. But you were the underdog then, weren't you, in that black McLaren?
Well, you know, that was really the first time when everything was going really well in Le Mans. That was my third Le Mans. And we just did what we're supposed to do. Just run hard throughout the night. It was raining a lot for 20 hours, so this time it's a little bit different. It's been dry, very hot, very hard, and we haven't had the fastest car. So there's been a lot of pressure from the Pescarolos especially. So we have been working really hard throughout the night, and hopefully it's paying back now.
Are you feeling nervous? I mean, can you watch the screen?
Well, not really, you know. This is the time when you start to get nervous.
And you talked to me at the test about your wonderful bike ride you're going to do, and well, then you'll be able to chill out. Just tell the guys what you're going to do.
Well, the plan is to go with Frank Vila after Glamrock race, drive to Sears Point where we have the next race.
3,000 miles.
Yeah, it's about 3,000 miles. It should be enough.
You deserve to chill out. Thanks very much.
Thanks.
It's got a wonderful chopper, guys, which is actually parked at the back here, and they're going to put it on the transporter and take it to America.
Thanks very much, Andrew. As you were talking, we were looking at some images of that great win by JJ back 10 years ago. And what you didn't see in those images, Alan, was the fact that he put in some unbelievable stints in the wet.
Yeah.
The magic of JJ Leto in the wet is something special.
I was there. He drove like a man possessed, and Gordon Murray, who designed the car, was in tears because to have your GT car going for GT class honours, win the race outright at that time was unheard of. It's one of the most remarkable results that Le Mans had ever seen 10 years ago.
And let's get a look here. The number 71 is in. Chris?
71, our GT2 leader, is back into the pit lane. Mike Rockenfeller handing over the driving duties to Mark Lieb in this car. These boys getting awfully tired. They've been doing a big run here today. Pretty smooth stop for them, fuel and tires. Now, this battle's really going to start heating up because this Alex Job team does need to come in and do one more pit stop before the end of the race, while the White Lightning boys in second in GT2 only have one more stop. So they're going to catch some ground on this last stop, and then it's going to come down to an all-out sprint for these guys.
Incidentally, just talking about the past, I'd like to pay tribute to Jean Rondeau, who won this race 25 years ago this year, the first man ever to win Le Mans in a homemade car. I've been trying to do that myself for years. He did it. He's a sweet man. He won Le Mans outright in 1980, and then he was killed, run over by a railway train on a railway crossing.
Unbelievable. Well, what an achievement. A car of your own design and bringing it to victory in an event of this stature. That is fabulous. Going to show you the top 12 overall right now. And of great note, I think, is the fact that in 5th and 6th right now, you have 2 GT1 cars up on that first page. Absolutely fabulous. And here is 7th through 12. And we have a GT2 car, our class leader, in that top 12. Amazing. From the world's greatest endurance classic to one of the world's greatest road racing series, today on Speed, Formula One, the United States Grand Prix from the legendary Brickyard. It is going to be an absolutely fascinating race, great developments already, and with Jarno Trulli on pole, the first for Toyota, it promises to be a fabulous battle. The United States Grand Prix, live today, 1:30 Eastern, 10:30 Pacific, exclusively on Speed. Great story there with that, and of course the concerns of the Michelin teams there because of the loads that long turn is taking. A lot of things playing out. You're not going to want to miss that one. Got a good look right here. This is the number 4 Audi from the PlayStation Team Orica, the all-French team of Hugues Deschonach, Frank Monteni, the very quick driver right now. And he's lapping beautifully at this stage. But, Alan, we've been going on. This number 63 Corvette and its team car leading right now are just having a magical race, it would seem. And Chris Neville is standing by with the gentleman that sort of runs the whole game.
That's right, Greg. Down here with Doug Feehan. Doug, so much talk in the early goings before the event about how quick the Astons were. Your game plan was to run 3:55 the entire race. It happened. Right now, everything's looking good. You're running 1-2 in GT1 and also running in the top 5 overall. You've got to be pretty excited.
Well, so far so good, Chris. And quite frankly, I think it's a testament to having a plan and sticking to it. I mean, I think when you look at our history here, we've demonstrated the ability to come here with a game plan. We've learned how to win, and hopefully today will turn out just that way.
Now, coming here with the new C6R, and running 1-2, could this be one of the greatest days in Corvette history?
You know, boy, there's been some great ones, and I got to tell you, I've been fortunate enough to be a part of quite a few of them. So I think if you talk to Corvette fans around the world, and certainly GM management, it would rank right up there.
Well, just talking with the drivers going into this race, they were a little bit worried about the handling of the car and lack of time on the track because one of the days rained out, and now really everything has come together for these guys. They just have a picture-perfect race.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt that the management of that team is exemplary, and the whole planning, the way they have thought out the car, just the simple carryover from the C5R, which is the powertrain, and everything else is more or less new, but using other bits that they know work. What a great job they've done, and that is the man you can thank for it.
Well, and I think that there's two things here to note. One, Chris mentioned it, is the new C6R, and that car, one, has never run here. It is a brand new car. There's not a lot of carryover from the C5 that has had such great success here. And two, they admit at this track, it's not necessarily the best body for this track, so they came up with a plan. They put it on the shoulders of the drivers. Do your job. Here's what you need to do. And the crew has been spectacular in the pits. The other thing is, when it's come down to it, the only two issues of any note that the Corvette team has had are the two blown tires, the cut tires, I should say, on the left rear of the 64 car. Otherwise, that's it. They have spent no time backed up in the garage. For the Aston Martin, they spent a fair amount of time there with both cars. That's the story.
Yeah, textbook run. I'll tell you something that's unusual, though, and Doug Feehan told me this himself. They have done all kinds of straight-line speed tests in the States. I mean, they've had that car out, and it has achieved massive straight-line speed. So that's fine, isn't it? They bring it to Le Mans. It was slow on the straight. How do you explain it? No one knows. It's a mystery. I mean, Le Mans is Le Mans. It is just the way this track happens to work. You can do all kinds of testing, come here and find that you haven't quite got it right. But what's so brilliant is that after the June the 5th tests, when they realized that, they didn't sit around moping. They went out and did something about it. And that car, the way it has run in the last, what, 20-odd hours, 22 hours, boy, it's fantastic.
Well, and the other thing, yes, the Aston Martin showed up, and we're seeing straight-line speeds that they hadn't shown at all. So you're right, Le Mans is a mystery, and it's magical, and things happen here that are just absolutely fantastic. And one of them is the fact that number 3, Tom Christensen, is closing in on 1 hour away from perhaps breaking one of the great records in all of motorsports, and that is overall wins at Le Mans. Let's take a look at our class leaders in the top 3 in each of our divisions. Christensen, as we talked about, with the problems, recent problems for the Pescarolo Judd, they have a little breathing room, and Christensen leads it. The Judd still second. The team car for champion ADT sits in third, and of course, if they pull this off, not only will Werner get his first win, it'll be the first win by an American team since '67. Some great stuff. LMP2, we have a development here, as that number 25, after that spin, threw down some very quick laps and is now split the Belmondo Courage Forge once again, with them running first and third. The French will be loving that. In GT, it is Vett and Vett. And then the two Aston Martin struggling a little bit back in the order. And in GT2, matching each other on times right now, the 71 and the 90 Porsches, with the number 80 of Van Overbeek, Pechnik, and Nyman right in the mix. Welcome back to the 73rd running of the Michelin 24 Hours of Le Mans, live on speed, riding on board with the number 63 Corvette, currently second in the GT1 class, 6th overall, and just got passed once again by the number 16 Courage. And a little bit earlier in the program, about a couple hours ago, if you were watching, from this vantage point, we saw the number 3 Audi go by, and it was a long pan process. And then we have again seen the number 16 Pescarolo Judd go by very, very fast. That is the difference between the two different types of chassis, the older chassis and what they are now calling the hybrid. We've been trying to explain that a little bit. It's a safety issue and the like. But the one thing is the number 80, the Flying Lizard machine, third in the GT2 category, is down in the pits, and looks like we're seeing a driver change. And in this heat, that is not at all surprising at this point. Chris?
Greg, that's right. Lonnie Pechnik is taking over for Johannes Van Overbeek. This is this last car's pit stop. Pretty much we're going to see this car taking its last pit stop. We're also going to see the 90 take its last pit stop pretty soon. And then a little bit later is going to be that final, the lead car in GT2, the Alex Job car. So everything going pretty smooth with these boys. They're just trying to hang on to third place in this class. And if things stay the way they are, we're going to have 3 American teams up on the podium in GT2.
What a remarkable result for the America Le Mans team, or teams, I should say, that run that series. And Don Panos, when we talked to him earlier, so very, very proud of what has been unfolding here. Oh, little problem, stalled it, now gets it started again. And the number 80 Flying Lizard Porsche, third in GT2, back out on track. And the number 83, that is another visit to the gravel trap for the cycle Porsche. We are getting word on this team, tremendous experience in endurance racing. But there it is. The problem is, and they're not hugely different, but this is the first time they're running the GT3 RSR as opposed to the older RS, and they seem to have been struggling. Here's a replay of it, Alan.
Greg, that's the 5th car we've seen fly off that turn through the gravel and hit those tires. Now, there has to be something down on the track that's causing that. That just isn't a natural phenomenon. That's 5 cars that have done that.
And we also have one of the Belmondo Courage Fords running slow. That is the 37, which is, to my reckoning, the class leader Belmondo himself behind the wheel of that car, and it is at a crawl. And this, in terms of a class win, is the one that they were, the French were certainly going to be cheering along here. And very, very slow, and just into the chicanes on the Mulsanne. Alain, a long way to go to get this car back to the pits.
They have a 3-lap lead on the Lola that's second in the LMP2 class. That's car number 25. So basically, this could be it. I mean, if they can't get this car fixed, that's their class lead going to go down the drain.
And the car that just went by, as a matter of fact, is the second place car, the number 25, Ray Malloch prototype in LMP2. So they just took one of those laps back. And but this car is at an absolute crawl. Doesn't look, I'm not seeing any tire damage or anything like that. So there's the issue. And into the pits comes the number 3 overall leader in the hands of Tom Christensen, the champion ADT Audi. Not only perhaps taking Christensen to his 7th win, breaking the record of X, but also the first win for an American team since 1967. And Calvin Fish is back on, and he's there.
Tom Christensen brings the car in. I believe they will need a splash at the end, Greg, with just over an hour to go to see the checkered flags fall here today. They're doing 12-lap stints, about 46 minutes, so Tom will need a splash of gas. Just checked in with Brad Kettler. They're going to try and stick with this same set of Michelin tires. So if they get this set to the flag, it'll be over 4 stints. What a remarkable performance by the tires here today. Tom is in the zone. They said that the pace of the Pescarolo has certainly been diminished. Now they just need to keep the car on track. Good clean stop for the boys.
Well, and he's got, at the time of that stop, the better part of 2 laps. It's about a lap and 3 minutes, so almost 2 complete laps up over the Pescarolo Courage. So they can afford to knock it down a notch or 2 and get this car to the finish.
You know, Calvin's absolutely right. I mean, what a wonderful thing for these tires to go for 4 stints. Makes me laugh, though, because we used to do the whole of this race on a set of tires without changing them, and then even come back the next year and do the practice on the same set of tires. But of course, hey, those days are long over, aren't they?
Indeed. Here's a look at the most wins overall all-time at Le Mans. Ix and Christensen atop the order. Derek Bell with 5. Dalmas, Jean Debienne, and Henri Pescarolo with 4 each. Legends all. Another one to be born today. Bye-bye.
Speed Channel's coverage of the Michelin 24 Hours of Le Mans is brought to you by Audi. In technology, performance and design, our goal remains constant. Never follow. Welcome back, everyone. Lee Diffie with you. Say thanks, a big thanks to Greg Creamer, Andrew Marriott and Chris Neville, who have done a wonderful job. We'll see them in the post-race show. And Alan de Cadenet stays up here in the booth. Brian Till joins Calvin Fish. We've got a big family here, and it's a big moment. The final hour of the Michelin 24 Hours of Le Mans. Tom Christensen is in the box seat. He has a healthy lead over the Pescarolo Judd and the second ADT champion Audi in the top 3. The lead car in LMP2, we take particular interest in that because there is an American in the car, Rick Sutherland. It's struggling. It is crawling around the track and is in big trouble. And the Ray Malloch Limited Lola MG is starting to zero in on it. It's an American 1-2. The boys in yellow, the Corvette gang, lead and dominate GT1 heading into this final hour. And the Aston Martin with Brabham, Sarazan and Turner struggling but still maintaining 3rd. And in GT2, yep, it's an American clean sweep there. All 3 teams from the American Le Mans Series. Alex Job, Bam, Peterson White Lightning, and the Flying Lizards. It couldn't be any better for the teams and drivers from the American Le Mans Series. Let's take a look at the previous hour and a scary, scary moment for the Ray Malek prototype coming into the final two bends here at Les Arcs, and a very lucky escape. The gravel trap did its job. Then the Team Yota, Zytek, bang, at Indianapolis. And as you heard Alan mention a few moments ago, one of 5 cars to do that. Thomas Enger crawling to a halt, ran out of fuel, and look at this. Problems in the 59, that's why it got sent into the garage next time around, and they went to work extensively on the front end of the DBR9. The TVR went in nose first, just like they all are here at the exit of Indianapolis, leading into Arnage, and then the cycle Porsche did the same again. This car carrying American Philip Collin. All experiencing similar troubles in these final minutes of the 24 hours of Le Mans. This car, the all-French Audi for the PlayStation team Orica. Well, they've had their ups and downs as well, but they sit in a very solid 4th, but not in a threatening position to the ADT champion Audi up front. And Alan, these two Paul Belmondo Courages, they are struggling.
I don't understand it, because the only reason why you go slowly is because you're stuck in gear and or your throttle doesn't work. Because if you can open the throttle, you can go faster, but if you can't change gear, you have to go slowly. And both cars are stricken with, it seems, the same plague, whatever that is. Unless they're both super low on fuel and they're having to kind of just struggle along. Very weird.
Well, they are about, when I say they, the lead car, the 37 Paul Belmondo Courage Ford, is about to lose the lead in LMP2, and Tommy Erdos, the British-based Brazilian, is about to inherit the lead in class. Sensational scenes in LMP2, and Brian Till is standing by.
The 36 car is in, Lee. It looks routine right now, but remember, they'll fuel it first, then they'll change tires. If they need to work on it, then the mechanics can go to work. If they need more than 4 mechanics to work on the car, they'll pull it into the garage. Really no sign of what that will be yet, what kind of work they'll do. Right now, they're just doing tires. They've already done the fuel, so we'll have to see what transpires here in just a moment.
Well, this is Britt Adam Sharp on board, and the 36 sits back in 24th overall, 3rd in class, so it's well and truly in their interest to keep on going. And if it means just crawling around till the end, that's exactly what they'll do. They've got, what have they got, about 30 odd laps lead on the next nearest car, so they've got plenty of time up their sleeve.
But they've got to complete the last lap in under 6 minutes, Lee. Let's get that right. So he needs to get some sort of crank up there, otherwise he can get right to the very end of the race. He can do 23 hours, 59 minutes. It don't count because he didn't do the last lap under that bogey time.
Yeah. It's quite a good rule out. I like that new rule because in the past, many people milked it, took advantage of that, pulled over, waited for the leader to go past, crawled around on the last lap. I think it's a good implementation.
I still don't know why they're going so slowly, though. He was wiggling the steering wheel there. Is the steering starting to pack up or something? I mean, is the car maybe being unstable? I wonder why it is. They didn't try to fix anything, did they?
Brian's still there, Alan. Tell us more, Brian.
Checked in on the 37 Belmondo car, the one that seemed to be slow on the racetrack, and Paul Belmondo himself said engine, and I said, is it gone? And he just smiled and said engine. That's all we'll say.
Let's talk GT2. Thanks for that update. GT2, it's ALMS teams 1, 2 and 3. But how about these guys? Mike Rockenfeller, Mark Lieb, Leo Hendry, the two young Germans though, they have been behind this wheel for an extraordinary amount of time and have really done an incredible job, an incredible effort in temperatures well above the 90-degree mark. We'll be back. Wednesdays right here on Speed at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's build or bust. Anyone can ride a bike, but only a few have the guts to build a custom chopper from the ground up. That's 8 o'clock Wednesday nights right here on Speed. Build or bust. Sadly for Paul Belmondo Racing and America's Rick Sutherland, it is bust. Brian Till has more.
Talked to Rick earlier, and everything looks so good, but lately things seem to be going wrong. What's up?
Well, like they say, it's never over till it's over, and you know, for us it is over at this point. So we lost the number 3 cylinder in our engine just a few minutes ago. We tried to actually tried to run it as a 3-cylinder engine, but that didn't work. Paul's out there stuck on the track somewhere. So pretty disappointing afternoon after sort of leading most of this race in class. So, you know, it's a big disappointment for the team and the sponsors. The Gulf Ford people just did a great job supporting us, and the Belmondo racing team just did a phenomenal job preparing the car, and, you know, for whatever reason, just wasn't meant to be today.
We saw the 36 car seem to be a little off pace as well. Is it having a similar problem?
Well, their problem was not quite as serious as ours. We actually lost a cylinder. There was some damage to the cylinder head. They were able to replace a couple parts on their engine and get back in the game. So Adam Sharp's behind the wheel right now. I think he's going to finish. I think he's going to finish the hour, and you know, he's got a pretty good battle to do with the number 25 Lola. So you know, there's still a shot for the team to take home the winning honors, and certainly, you know, if they just run clean the rest of the hour, they'll be second.
Well, disappointment obviously on the face of Rick Sutherland, but he still has something that most people in the world don't have, and that's a victory in class at Le Mans, Lee.
Yeah, that was last year. Unfortunately, it's not the case this year. And as Brian was talking to Rick Sutherland, the Paul Belmondo Courage has lost the race, the category race lead. Tommy Erdos and the RML Lola MG now leads P2. How would you fancy being in Tom Christensen's shoes right here, Alan de Cadenet? 46 minutes to go, and you're the all-time greatest at Le Mans.
Yeah, I'd set fastest lap while I was about it. Yeah, no, I mean, I think we're watching history here, and we should all remember this. Hey, he may go on and do it again, who knows, but this is history in the making, and we're here watching it live, and I have to say it's a treat, a real privilege.
It is a privilege, isn't it? Jackie Icks's 6 wins span some 23-odd years. His first was in 69, his last in 82. But Tom will do it in 9 years if he lasts another 3/4 of an hour. And that phrase, really you hear that phrase used all too often, don't you? This is history in the making, but this truly is.
Yeah, and also the old Audis don't tend to break, do they? I mean, it would be most unlucky, in fact seriously unlucky, suspiciously unlucky, if at this stage of the game no one needs to race anymore. You see, it's now just let's consolidate our position, especially with these GT1 Corvettes, of course. I mean, they've got wonderful placings here, 5th and 6th overall at Le Mans, 1 and 2 in GT1. Wow, you know, it couldn't get any better than that for them. They're Corvette fans, I hope, all over the world going to go crazy when they hear and see these results.
Cal.
Well, this will be the final pit stop for these boys. Ollie Gavin will jump out, and it'll be the Dane Jan Magnussen, hopefully taking this car to the checkered flag this afternoon. And boy, what a journey has been for Jan Magnussen. Last year at Sebring, in his first event, he spun the car around, he torched the clutch. He had a lot to learn about endurance racing, but he went to work. He went from left foot to right foot braking to ease the brake temperatures on the car and scored that Le Mans victory last year. And he and the same fellas in the car, Oliver Gavin and Olivier Beretta, are trying to do the same thing here today. And what's amazed me with this team this weekend is that they really haven't had the pace since they unloaded the cars at the test a couple of weeks ago, but there's been no sense of panic at any time, and I find that quite remarkable. And talking to Doug Feehan, he said it's just experience. We now know how to win this race, and when they do it today, which they're certainly looking like they have with 2 cars running 1-2, it'll be their 3rd victory, their 4th victory in the last 5 years. Just remarkable stuff.
Well, Cal, as you were mentioning, Jan Magnussen climbing on board here at Speed Channel. We've been excited for the American drivers and teams. What about the Danish fans? Tom Christensen poised to win the race outright and the LM1 category. Jan Magnussen, his countryman, poised to win his 2nd consecutive Class GT1 victory here at Le Mans. Great day for the Danes, and they've got many fans here as well, as we've seen.
It really is. And the other thing you got to talk about, when these guys finish this pit stop, there's a tremendous sense of achievement amongst the crews. I mean, this is a long, hard journey to try and get one of these cars to the finish, let alone victory lane. And these boys have done a tremendous job. They've worked hard and long on their pit stops. They've tried to shave off those tenths of a second, which turned into seconds. And all day long, the Aston Martin was the faster car, but the fastest team in the pits with this Corvette crew.
Well, unselfishly and with very little ego, Doug Feehan regards himself and his men as the guys to beat. He said, we're here to defend the hill. And that's exactly what we'll do, and that's exactly what they've done. 3 times a 1-2 result here at Le Mans. The countdown continues here at the Michelin 24 Hours of Le Mans. Less than 40 minutes till we see the checkered flag. And here's an update on the American drivers for you. Leo Hendry in the Alex Joe Bam Porsche. He shares that car with the two young Germans. They're currently first. Pat Long is second for Peterson White Lightning. And the three Flying Lizards, they are third in GT2. Philip Collin is currently seventh in that class. And you see Brian Sellers, Phil Auberlen 10th and 14th respectively. They are no longer running. In LMP2, Rick Sutherland was first, now second. However, he is out of it as well. The car has stopped. Liz Halliday retired late last night in her Intersport Lola. And John Macaluso, Andy Lally, they were also out of the race very, very early. In GT1, Johnny O'Connell, the lead American driver, currently second in his Corvette. And Jim Matthews in the 69 Ferrari, currently seventh in GT1 class. And up in Prototype 1 class, Elton Julian. Seventh overall, fifth in class in his first appearance, and has not driven for many, many years. Well done, Elton Julian.
Yeah, that's a remarkable performance. He was in Formula 3 in Great Britain, I think, what must be 13 years ago, and as you say, hasn't driven for, what, 6 years. The man can drive, and he's quitting himself very well indeed, I think.
And this man can drive too, down in pit lane. Ollie Gavin with Cal.
Ollie, you're not tasting the champagne yet, mate, but it must be a tremendous feeling of satisfaction to get out of the car with the car in the lead and your final stint is over.
Yeah, it is. It's great. This is a fantastic team here at Corvette Racing. You know, I have to thank Doug Feehan here and Gary Claudio for all their support and all their brilliant advice over the years. Yeah, this is a fantastic result for everybody here at Corvette Racing. For the first time for the C6 to run here at Le Mans, it's brilliant. I'm just delighted. And so, you know, it's only about 35-40 minutes to go. Jan's in the car. Jan's just doing his bit, taking care. And we've got our fingers crossed everything's going to be fine.
Well, right now is a Corvette 1-2, and Doug, during that last pit stop, I was talking about the sense that no panic on this team this week, even when you guys look like you're a bit behind the 8-ball with the Astons running so strongly.
It's interesting, Calvin, but that's what experience will do for you. You learn right away not to panic. This is not a race you win, this is a race you lose, and you lose by making mistakes. And this is a team that today made very, very, very few mistakes.
How much patience did you have to drill into these guys? I mean, most of the squad have won this race before. There's a lot of experience on the driving team, but I mean, when you've got a faster car coming up behind you, I mean, you know, you have to take risks out there. There's some fine calls to make out on the racetrack. How much do you have to get on the radio and calm these boys down?
Well, actually, we do it all the time. We do it off the track as well as on the track, and patience is the most difficult thing to instill in them. And so we constantly reinforce that, both on and off. And today I think you saw great lessons in patience. When we could have panicked or we could have tried to put the throttle down, run harder than we needed to, we just didn't need to do that, and that's the experience speaking.
A remarkable job. Congratulations from us and all the fans back in the States. We'll keep our fingers crossed for the next 40 minutes.
Well, we want to say hello to everybody back there and all the Corvette fans back there, as well as the Corvette fans here. We love Corvette. Viva la Corvette.
All right, mate. Thank you.
Thank you.
And he is a tremendous leader, that man there. And at a time when General Motors could do with a shot in the arm, this will be a great boost to all employees.
You know, if we're ever going to make a movie about Le Mans again, I would cast that great-looking gentleman as the godfather of the GT team. Has he got command, eh?
He has. He is the boss. He's the captain. He is the leader. We'll be back. It is ticking down. We are getting close. The greatest sports car race in history. The greatest sports car event. And we've got just over half an hour to go. It's been so close at the front and in each of the four respective classes. And for these guys, Corvette Racing, they're on their way to yet another class victory at Le Mans. And it will be their third one too, so long as it stays as is. And for the trio of Magnussen, Beretta and Gavin, they've eclipsed last year's effort of actually breaking into the top 5. They now sit 5th overall in the 64 C6R.
You know, for the last half hour, I've done what I like doing probably the most, which is getting out with the crowd, out in the fan area, you know, watching these cars. I can tell you on the final pit stop for Corvette, when that 64 came in, the horns started blowing, flags, American flags waving. These people have really embraced that C6R, and it's going to be a very popular victory.
Now, there is still 31 minutes to go. Anything can still happen. But for these guys, for ADT champion Audi, this moment is the culmination of a dream for Dave Mirage, the team owner, and for all of those who are part of his Pompano Beach, Florida-based champion group.
A victory at Le Mans would mean a lot. At this point in my career, there is no greater thing that could happen. The amount of effort that we've put into what we're doing and what we've been doing over the past 4 or 5 years, the opportunities that we've had to go and compete there quite successfully, but to finally put that win in our cap, that'll allow us to mark one more thing off the list of accomplishments that we're after.
That's our dream. That's been the dream of the Mirage family, and we are giving that commitment to everything 100%.
Everyone in Champions organization that works under Dave Mirage, the people that sell the Audis and people that sell the Porsches and work in the shops and mop the floors and do all that stuff know what goes on, and a victory for them is a victory for the whole company.
Everybody has a piece of this dealership and they feel a part of it. It's a family.
For us to be able to bring that victory to them would be a very, very special thing.
It would certainly make the name champion exactly what it is, a champion. And that's what we want to do. We want to brand the name champion. And to be a champion, you have to be a champion.
It's been far too long since an American team has won it. And when we were on the podium in 2003, it was the first time in 19 years an American team had even made it onto the podium. And I have to say that I'm feeling pretty patriotic these days, and that I would really like to bring that back to the United States to show that we can do it too.
38 years since an American team won Le Mans overall. Dan Gurney, AJ Foyt in their Ford in 1967. Now it's the boys from Florida in the almighty Audi R8. Dorsey, to give you a bit of a pat on the back, you're the only American to have competed in this car.
As long as no other American gets in it this year, by the end of the year, I will have been that, and I was privileged to drive for this man, Dave Mirage, and his champion Audi team. Those guys obviously are the crew that I had as well. And I can thank Dave Mirage for one more thing, my wife.
Yes, she used to work at Champion Audi, didn't she? Let's talk GT1 as we watch Tom Christensen break the half-hour barrier. He's on his way home. Not only has he put in a mighty effort, what about the guys at Alex Job and BAM and this man, Mike Rockenfeller?
Leo Hendry calls Mike Rockenfeller Superman. Now, Mike, a lot of people were surprised. Team with a gentleman driver, a patron of the sport like Leo Hendry on it, 2 factory guys. Everybody said you would run well, but winning would be tough to do. And the Yokohama tires, no qualifiers. And yet you're leading right now, and you put the car on the pole. Are you surprised?
A little bit. I mean, we did the pre-test 2 weeks ago, and we already saw that the tires working really good here in Le Mans. So we expected that we can go the pace with the other cars. But I mean, that we lead for such a long time, we didn't expect, and also not the pole position because we have no qualifiers from Yokohama. So we had to do the quali on race tires. But I have to say the team did so far a great job. We had no major problems. The tires are working very good, so thanks to Yokohama. So yeah, we are all very happy.
Now, to win this thing and give Leo Hendry a great going away present, I know you've known Leo for a long time. What would that mean to you?
I mean, basically, we still have to do half an hour, so we didn't win. But if we win, I think it's great for Leo. It's his last time in Le Mans, and yeah, I think it's.
The car's been so remarkable today. It'll win its 5th Le Mans. It also had the Audi engine in the Bentley. Tell me your feelings.
Yeah, it's a very special feeling. I mean, even it's not really over yet, but I hope nothing bad will happen anymore. I mean, it was an excellent race for everybody. It was a spectator, not only for the friends of the R8. It was very thrilling for us, but I think this is the best swan song you can give up.
Very different race for you. So often you've had the dominant car in the event. This year the Pescarolo was a faster car. Tell me your feelings through the event, seeing that blue and green car coming back at you.
Yeah, it was a completely different approach this year. We have been the hunters all the time, and we have not been used to. But I think the guys did it excellent.
This baby's life is over. We've got a new one on the way, I understand. Can you give us any details about the new car for next year?
No, I can't give you any details, but I just can tell you that we will stay with the sport prototypes and win the 24 Hours of Le Mans.
Congratulations on a great run here.
Thank you.
They call him the Lord of the Rings.
He certainly is that. Well, both, for that matter, you could say Tom Christensen is, and Dr. Ulrich as well. Both wonderful relationships and tenures with Audi.
And we're watching the last lap, guys. This is the final. There's just over 2.5 minutes to run, and as soon as that car goes past the checkered flag, actually, as the 24 hours is up, then the winner is the winner wherever he happens to be on the track.
Yeah.
Although he'll come past for the photo opportunity.
And look, Frankie Bieler. Frankie is trying to catch up. There he is there. He will slot in ahead of the Pescarolo. And that will be a wonderful photo opportunity as well. Or will he stay as is? Because that's the order in which they will finish.
Yeah, that is it.
Pescarolo is second with Eric Comas behind the wheel, and then Bieler. The all-French Audi, Frank Montani behind the wheel. And look, they are in exact order, 1, 2, 3, and 4.
And I think out of respect, he'll keep it that way, too. I mean, he'd love to be up there with his champion teammate for the photo op, but it wouldn't be fair to the guys at Pescarolo who put on such a huge effort.
Yeah, that's right. And they'll overtake the Belmondo machine because that poor old thing is way back down there, but at least it's going to finish.
Yeah, it's limping around, but it will get second in class. It's only just overtaken the 37. And Tom Christensen acknowledging the crowd, acknowledging the flag marshals, the corner workers here at Circuit de la Sarthe.
Yeah. Minute and a half to run, guys, and he will have made history.
You know, normally when you win 3 or 4 in a row, you stick your hand up in the air with the amount of fingers on it, but if you did that, he'd have a wreck, wouldn't he? He's out of fingers.
He's out of fingers, you're right.
And look, he's approaching the 2 works Corvettes as well. A magical moment there. And in GT2, Leo Hendry, American Leo Hendry, is behind the wheel. He stood on the podium here before. So too has Mark Lieb. But this will be a magical moment for them. Tom Christensen acknowledges Jan Magnussen, his countryman. The fellow Dane. What a day.
They'll get the pastries out in Solvang, I can tell you.
Won't they what? And the Corvette's allowing the prototypes to come through as they begin their march home. There's the speculation when we arrived earlier this week and everyone's personal opinions, and it just, I mean, it's been a fascinating week. People who thought Christensen could do it, people who thought he wouldn't do it. Well, here are the facts. He's going to do it.
Yeah, he's going to do it is right, and that's just unbelievable. Who knows in our lifetime if we'll ever see anyone be able to defeat the, go beyond this.
If they don't disqualify him for having a headlight out, look. No,
Yeah,
seriously, guys, 22 seconds to go. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
This is it.
What a day for America. Holy cow.
Yep, I should say.
15 American drivers came here, and look at Doug Feehan.
Yeah, God bless old Doug. Look at that, with the old stars and stripes.
And you can't, for those of you who know him, you will understand what I mean, but you can't express how much this means to Doug Feehan, how much he puts in, he and Gary Claudio, and those guys in yellow, black and white.
And I hope someone's giving Dave Mirage a hug too, because let's face it, he is really the great leading light behind the Audi victory we've got today.
Well, my clock has run out.
Yep, that's it. He just did it.
When you talk of Le Mans legends, there are so many great names, but Jackie Ickx was the benchmark. And who'd have ever thought that has now been eclipsed? His record has been eclipsed. It's that man there, the smiley, friendly Great Dane. Tom Christensen is on his way to creating history.
And you know Jackie Ickx would be the first guy to give him a hug, because that's the kind of guy he is too.
Well, you remember the soundbite we played earlier in our broadcast that this time last year, Tom said Jackie Ickx came to him and said, "You can do it. I want you to do it. I believe you can do it." And that was just to equal his record. And look at the champion boys, Marco Werner, JJ Lado. For JJ, it's 10 years since his first win, his only Le Mans win. And look, there's only 2 corners left to go. And Tom Christensen, imagine what it's like inside that helmet. He has done it. The checkered flag flies. Tom Christensen is the greatest ever driver at Le Mans. Wow. 7 victories for Christensen.
Wow.
And Champion Audi become the first American team to win since 1967. Congratulations, Dave Mirage. Congratulations, Tom Christensen.
Now pandemonium will break out, no question about that.
What a race.
Look at Doug Feehan, the leader of the Corvette group. And they celebrate their victory as well.
No doubt history made here today in many, many ways. For Tom Christensen, for sure. For America, for sure.
And there's Ollie Gavin. Wonderful achievement. Olivier Beretta, he's been limping around pit lane. He's burnt his feet severely. They are very sore. And those boys are multi-time winners at Le Mans now. Let's go with Cal. He's in the ADT champion pit.
Well, down here, as you said, pandemonium breaks out. JJ Leto, it's been a long 10 years since you had a victory here. How does it feel right now?
Well, it feels so great that I can't even say it. It's wonderful. It's been so hard race for us because we were definitely not the fastest car here, and we just fought all the way through the race, nighttime, daytime, pushing hard, and the ADT champion racing, team, they were just doing so good job all the time. Car was reliable, no problems at all. Fantastic.
Talk about this team, how far they've come in the few years they've been in sports car racing.
Well, they have come a long way. Since I joined them 2003, it's been just growing up, and we have been getting together, and it's a nice little family, We're just doing the job right.
You and Tom felt like you let one get away in 99. Does this make up for that one?
It definitely makes up, left a little bitter taste, out of Le Mans in 99, and now we are doing it with Tom, so it's just fantastic, great.
Awesome job, mate. Great to see. Marco, we got Marco Werner here. Marco, your first Le Mans win. You've been on the podium. How special is this for you?
I can't say it how special it is. It's much more than Daytona or whatever. I know it's one of the biggest races in the world, and also with this pressure on this weekend, it's unbelievable. So I'm so happy and very thankful to Audi and team champion. Everybody did a good job, and this was teamwork. This was important.
You talk about pressure. Tom going for his 7th win, making a record here over Jackie X. Did that play on your mind any time in preparation for the event?
Yeah, of course. We work all together and work, of course, for him for his 7th win. And I mean, it's so special. He's so good here. That's not only luck. He's so good.
Congratulations. Awesome job. Lee?
Oh, what about that for Marco Werner? He can add Le Mans to his list. And there's the man on the left, Dave Mirage, celebrating and congratulating his men on a mighty, mighty effort. Brian, who are you with?
Olivier Beretta down here, Lee, in celebration down here for the Corvette boys. And Olivier, it never gets old, does it?
Corvette Racing did a fantastic, huge job. The crew, everyone at Chevrolet pushed very hard. And today we have won. The C6 is a strong car, it's a safe car. It's a very easy to drive. I mean, these guys did a fantastic job. I mean, without them, we would be not there. I just want to thank everyone in America, at Chevrolet, at Corvette. Thank you very much.
Brilliant performance, brilliant performance. And for Olivier Beretta, that's now his 4th class win at Le Mans. Magical stuff. Well, the man who led his American team to the first overall victory since '67 is with Calvin.
Well, a big hug from Marco Werner and the team owner, Dave Mirage. Dave, let's get a quick word. So much preparation. How does it feel to finally win Le Mans?
Too early to say, but I think it's a lifetime achievement. Something that's very good, very good. Very good for America, too.
Absolutely. What a team you put together in terms of the drivers and the men behind the fold there with Brad Kettler, Mike Peters. You got to be very proud of the whole team today.
Very proud. Very, very proud. Very, very proud. Thank you.
He's choked up. You can tell he doesn't like to be on camera, but he is one proud man right now, and deservedly so, Lee.
We've dealt with P1. There he is. Tom Christensen is out of the car, and his countryman, Jan Magnussen, one of the first to congratulate him. They will both be on the podium today. Magnussen, the GT1 winner. And there's Johnny O'Connell in the background congratulating his teammate, and coming up to congratulate Tom Christensen. All of these guys are great mates, and they will celebrate together.
And look at the orange all over the grandstands. We got orange smoke bombs, we got flares, we got balloons, everything going on.
Yeah. Well, it's like old warriors who've been in combat, and they'll never forget what they've done. And I remember standing next door to Christensen when he won his first Le Mans, up there on that podium, and he was in tears. I said, "You remember this, you'll never forget it." Well, here he is, what, 6 more Le Mans wins later.
Yeah.
Exceptional.
Just incredible. Let's deal with the other classes, and let's deal with the American success that's continuing on. Leo Hendry has won the GT2 class with Germans Mark Lieb and Mike Rockenfeller. How about that? He's won it in his last race. He'd been on the podium here before. He took the final stint, the final few laps, and Leo Hendry, a special man, will celebrate a lot. We'll hear from him later as well. We need to squeeze in a quick commercial break, but still plenty to come. All the wrap-up from Le Mans. We'll talk with Tom Christensen as well. Welcome back, everyone. The celebrations continue here in Le Mans. Beautiful weather, perhaps a little hot, but it is a time to celebrate, and everyone in this crowd has just witnessed history. Everyone looks at the records in great events, whether it be the Indy 500, Formula One, NASCAR, whatever it may be. Well, a record has been broken here today. Look at that crowd. The early predictions were it was the largest ever.
Arguably, it might be the largest. We heard numbers from 250 to 300,000 people on an 8-mile circuit. It's hard to say how many people are really here. You can see from the pictures, the place is absolutely packed.
Yeah, the weather's been nigh on perfect. It's darn hot for the drivers, but perfect for spectators. Nice cooling wind now.
98 degrees, ambient down there where they're standing, probably around 135 or 40 off that asphalt. They don't care, they're partying.
That's it.
Greg Creamer rejoins us. Greg, what a magnificent event.
Absolutely. The thing that just blows me away, and timing is perfect here with what Christensen has achieved, and Lee, you were alluding to it, Formula One. I think a comparison can genuinely be made here. His 6th straight win is akin to Schumacher's 5 straight championships in Formula One. His 7th Le Mans, 7 championships overall for Schumacher. I think we are talking about something on that very scope. Unbelievable.
And sadly to say, boys, I doubt we'll ever see that topped in our lifetime.
Well, I think you're right, but you never know. These young guys coming through, they're brilliant. The technology's there, the energy's there. Who knows? I think what we need to see first is something like an Audi R8 that can take its place.
In terms of total numbers, fellas, 3,191 miles completed. Not as far as last year, and an average of 132 miles an hour.
And understand that there's a constant reduction in the speed around here, and some changes on the racetrack with both, you know, to slow cars down, but also to make things safer. So.
And the car's 100 horsepower down. It's got 50 kilograms of weight, so
yeah, that's still pretty good going.
They pretty well wrung its neck, I think, for 24 hours.
I think they did too.
Let's take a look at the more detailed look at class results. We know the overall winner. Congratulations to Henri Pescarolo and his men, Emmanuel Collard, Jean-Christophe Bouillon and Eric Comas. They hung in there. Boy, it was exciting a couple of hours ago. It looked like they may have caught the champion Audi, but then they had another problem, another hiccup. The second ADT champion machine of Frankie Bieler, Emanuele Pirot and Alan McNish finishing on the podium as well. In P2, the Ray Malek Limited, Lola MG got there in the end with Tommy Erdos, Mike Newton and Warren Hughes. Those boys will be absolutely delighted, and that finishes ahead of the 2 Belmondo Courage Fords. In GT1, we know about that. It's all yellow. It's Corvette 1 and 2, and it's back-to-back Le Mans victories in GT1 for Ollie Gavin, Olivier Beretta and Jan Magnussen over Ronnie and Johnny and Max, and then the Aston Martin DBR. Boy, that put up a strong fight. It set the pace for the majority of the race. And then in GT2, we'll talk about that in a moment. Let's soak up these podium celebrations. We know that it's all American Le Mans Series teams in GT2. But here are the third place men, Alan McNish, Frankie Bieler, Emanuele Pirot. 2 off-track excursions were costly for these guys.
They're going to lift him up.
Lift him up.
Throw him to the crowd.
And look at that. Isn't that amazing? Mr. Le Mans. Second place, the local men for Pescarolo Sport, Jean-Christophe Bouillon, Emmanuel Collard, and Eric Comas. But wait to hear the roar. For the number 1 guys, the Le Mans winners in 2005. Here they come, And Tom Christensen, appropriately, the first out of the door and the first onto the podium. He is Mr. Le Mans. Isn't that amazing?
Yep, it's the real thing.
No, you liken it to two fighters, and at the end of the fight, after they beat each other about half to death, they walk over and give each other a hug because only they know the effort put forth.
Yeah, I think you have to have been there to fully understand it.
They chat, they mingle, but they are so exhausted. And there is Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich up on the podium with his boys, and Dave Mirage appropriately as well. A double victory for the American team and for Tom Christensen as the guys receive their trophies. What a fitting way to send off the Audi R8.
Yeah.
And Lee, you look at that top step of the podium, I mean, there's some wonderful individual stories there. The win for the American team and for Mirage, first since '67. Leto getting his second win on his 10th anniversary. But let's not forget Marco Werner, who's been so close, gets his first win. And as you said, Alan, remember this one.
Oh, yeah.
And what a special moment for him.
Yeah.
So Christensen joined by, I think, some absolutely wonderful stories as well.
And you have to hand it to the French team, Pescarolo. I mean, for all the trials and tribulations they had, they fought on, and they got to the end, and they came in second. Hey.
Look at JJ, he was late. JJ Leto was late arriving. Tom was saying, come on, man, where were you?
And of course, a 24-hour that will go down in history as making history of all time.
Yep, that's right.
Look at JJ. That is a meaningful conversation, a heartfelt conversation up there. They almost did it in a BMW in 1999. Well, now they have done it together. It's taken 6 years, but they are the best at Le Mans.
At 24 says it all. Now, is that a sea of people, folks?
That is something else.
What that says is we're not getting out of here anytime soon. Is what that says.
It has been 35 years since we have heard that anthem played first here at Le Mans.
I'm glad they found it.
What a moment, yes.
Yeah.
Had it in the archives.
Yep, sounded good to me.
We've told you the story about Dan Gurney spraying the champagne and started a tradition. Now it's time for the boys from ADT champion Audi and Pescarolo to celebrate their efforts here at Circuit de la Sarthe, particularly that man there, Tom Christensen.
He's going to get wet. I tell you, that man's getting wet.
He's going to get drowned. He's not going to get wet. Poor little Alan McNish, it all falls on him too, doesn't it?
Henri Pescarolo left to think about what could have been. His boys got close.
He's got a smile on his face. It could have been worse.
And well, he should have a smile. The effort they put in.
Absolutely.
Well, he may not have got the win, but he and his team have to be incredibly proud of the fight. Because when they dropped, they were 16th at one time and came back to the same lap. That's pretty remarkable.
As the boys soak in this magical moment, we will squeeze in a commercial break. We're not done with yet from Circuit de la Star. Stay with us, more to come. Speed Channel's coverage of the Michelin 24 Hours of Le Mans is brought to you by Michelin, a better way forward. By New Mobil 1 Extended Performance, that's oil changing oil. And by Porsche. Porsche, there is no substitute. The final wrap-up while we're away in commercial break here at Le Mans. Tom Christensen made a very emotional address to the crowd, so much so he couldn't finish it, he couldn't continue. Completely overwhelmed by the emotion of his achievement. And before he stepped out onto the podium, our Andrew Marriott caught up with him.
Tom Christensen, you really had to work for that historic 7th win, and right at the end of the race, you just had to push, push, and push.
Yeah, not right at the end, but there was different. There was a lot of situation during the race, which you never knew which way it was going. The morning stints, early morning stint in the darkness with McNish were strong. Then in the end, they were crawling back on us. And in the heat, my Michelin tires stood up really, really well. The Audi never missed a beat. The old baby is going to see him. I would be honored to drive it. The whole boys at Champion have been working so hard, and I bet that Dave Marais has been very, very nervous. But he showed he really got the balls to come here, even with these regulations. He believed in his boys. He believed in the toy, the Audi, the reliability, and I think he's also pretty proud with all 6 drivers of us.
Tom, is this the toughest of your 7 wins?
It's always, any year is different. This certainly was different because we were, let's say, outsiders in a way, but the Audi never missed a beat, and reliability proved its point. That's why we came out front in the end, and I'm the most tired at the end of the race like now, but I've always also been now in the car for a long time. But I enjoyed it truly.
Let's take a look at the mobile move of the race for the 73rd Michelin 24 Hours of Le Mans. And how could it be any other moment other than this? The move across the finish line to receive the checkered flag. The first American team to win since '67. The first driver to ever win 7 times overall. Fabulous, fabulous achievement. And this crowd goes halfway up the main straight on the front straight and the pit lane. Let's take a look at the overall results for this race. We know who are on the podium. The all French Audi of Montani, Gounon and Ortelli finishing 4th. And look at that, the GT1 Corvettes making the top 5.
5 and 6, as a matter of fact. Then you see the Yommers. Elton Julian returning to race. Good job for the dome judge there.
John Bosch, Jan Lammers, the 2 Dutchmen, joining together. You look back inside the top 10, the first of the Aston Martins, and there is the GT2 class winner, American Leo Hendry, with first-time Le Mans winners as well. It's a first for all 3, Mike Rockenfeller and Mark Lieb. Fantastic achievement for those boys, and we will roll through the entire grid. Greg Creamer, final thoughts. What a day, what a year. This is magical.
It has been absolutely unbelievable. How fortunate to be a part of it. And obviously the Christensen story overwhelming. But I think something that was very significant was it's been a long time since they used to run just 2 drivers here. But for the GT2 winning car, the number 71, Hendry put in a couple of stints. But otherwise it was 2 young German drivers that were brutally effective and drove themselves into the dust to make that happen. And I think we have seen Mike Rockenfeller, maybe a superstar of the future. Remember last year when Wolf Hensler, and easily the top program in Porsche Super Cup, won 9 of 12, his 3 losses, usually from pole, were to Mike Rockenfeller. He's special.
Well, thank you, mate. Thank you for your efforts. So too our boys in the pits with Brian Till, Calvin Fish. Cal, I know you're there. Great moment, mate, and you were very, very close to it with Christensen. The guys are down there on pit road.
Yeah, very special day down here for Champion Racing, and I feel privileged to be part of it, Lee. I mean, they've looked after us, the family at Speed, so well this week. Di and Stuart feeding us a little too well, I'm afraid, and to see Tom Christensen get that 7th victory is just remarkable. JJ Marco, we work with them every week, and it's just tremendous. I mean, there's real goosebumps right now on the body just watching and seeing it happen. Let's go over to Brian and see his thoughts.
Calvin, I mean, I saw the passion of the French people as they supported Pescarolo. Obviously, great to see the history with Christensen. I've been here to see 3 of those victories. It's fantastic. Great to see Champion. And what about Leo Hendry and the guys at BAM? It was awesome. What about your first Le Mans, Chris?
Well, I'm happy to remove those rookie stripes, and I've always known that Le Mans was a crown jewel in motorsports, but you really don't understand it until you finally come here and experience this, and it really is all about the passion of the fans. 300,000 people here. That's what motorsports is all about. Hopefully, sports car racing in the U.S. will someday have this type of passion.
Thank you, boys. Thank you for your effort, and also Andrew Marriott, who is no longer on headsets. He's been working hard, grabbing those interviews at the end of the race. Alan de Cadenet, Dorsey. Alan, first up, you've done 15 of these events. This one, I'm sure you will appreciate.
Very much so. I think it is also a great tribute to the safety of the track, that we had a lot of offs and outs and thumps and bangs. And the most important thing for me is nobody has been hurt. It's been a wonderful race, and what a wonderful result for Audi.
And all that being said, I'd like to thank all of you guys, the best broadcast crew.
It's been a wonderful day. We truly enjoy making the trip over each and every year. We'd like to thank the guys at Radio Le Mans who filled in and gave you coverage for several hours. It has been a truly special day. Americans well represented here at Circuit de la Sarthe, winning overall, and then Tom Christensen bagging his 7th. Unbelievable stuff. It's a great day for motorsport here on Speed Channel. Formula One preview show coming up. The Corvette gang celebrate, but there he is. He is officially Mr. Le Mans. On behalf of all of our technical crew, producers, directors, editors, the entire gang, and of course all of us here, the on-air team, it's been marvelous bringing you 17.5 hours live coverage of the 73rd Michelin 24 Hours of Le Mans. We congratulate you, Tom Christensen.